Welcome back in the home stretch, my friends. As we talk the race for City Hall, we're on the eve of the mayoral primary, as you know, in New York City, and things getting very heated. According to the latest Q poll that came out today, public advocate Bill de Blasio, I still can't believe this, but he leads among lightly Democratic voters and going away, sitting there at 39%, followed by 25% for Thompson and 18% for City Council Speaker Christine Quinn. And our own Dominic spoke with both bills today, and he joins us with more. Some polls have this a little closer as it relates to a fight for second place, but let's just remind everybody of the math. If he hits 40%, game, set, match here, he's the nominee for the Democrats. If he comes under it, we're looking at a runoff, right?
A runoff in 3 weeks. Any person can win. Everything is up in the air. You know, Richard, let's start. You mentioned the 2 bills. Well, let's start with the bill that's the front runner, and that's Bill de Blasio. And when you're the front runner, everywhere you go, there are large crowds and a ton of cameras. We asked de Blasio, Richard, about the criticism of him from Mayor Bloomberg that broke over the weekend. The mayor charging de Blasio is running a, quote, racist campaign by displaying his biracial family so prominently on the campaign trail. The primary contest is over. How do you feel? And has Mayor Bloomberg perhaps slowed down some of your momentum with the comment he made about a racist campaign?
I would just say all over the city in the last couple of days, people have come up to me and express their sense of solidarity and support for me and my family. I was very gratified by Governor Cuomo's comments. Governor Cuomo and Chiara share a birthday. They're both born December 6th. And Governor Cuomo, really, we've spent a lot of time talking about family. In fact, I was working for him the day that Dante was born. And I really appreciate the way he framed this. I'm very proud of my family. I'm very proud of the role they played in this campaign, and I think people all over the city were, confused by the mayor's comments. It was very off-putting to a lot of New Yorkers, and out of line. And people have really rallied around us. Really out of line. And really out of line. And thank you. but further, remember the mayor's comments. There were a lot of different things in that interview, but the thing that struck a lot of people the most was the notion of the class warfare concept, that the mayor was actually suggesting that if you talk about the problems of inequality in New York City, somehow you're engaging in class warfare. I gotta tell you, that bothered so many people, because the only way you solve these problems is by talking about them openly. You have to surface the problem. The mayor's own Economic Development Corporation put out the study that said 46% of New Yorkers are living at or near the poverty level. That's something I would have liked the mayor to have said at that moment. Let's face it, we have a real problem we have to address here. But it's almost like he was trying to sweep it under the rug. So I think the mayor's comments were really unfortunate, and I think they've left a lot of New Yorkers perplexed and wondering if he really understands what's happening in our neighborhoods.
Now, Richard, Governor Cuomo did refer to Mayor Bloomberg's comments that we're talking about here as unnecessary and inflammatory. And of course, there is now the other bill in the race, that is Bill Thompson, who has run a more moderate campaign, battling based on polling with Christine Quinn to make it into a runoff. Here we are, Mr. Thompson. The polls open in about 10 hours. How do you feel?
Feeling great, feeling energized, feeling pumped up. The people we continue to run into, they're all energized. People they're talking about they're coming out to vote for me. So I'm feeling very good about where things are at right now.
Now, we are in the heart of the South Bronx right now, outside of a firehouse off of Webster Avenue, 143rd. This is your base, Mr. Thompson. Do you feel that during this campaign you let a little bit of your base slip away to Bill de Blasio?
No, I think that is wait till tomorrow. We'll see as people come out to vote. Every indication I've been getting is that people are energized, people are pumped up. People want to support my candidacy. They want me to, work, get me elected to help move this city in a different direction. So I'm feeling very comfortable about where things are going to be at tomorrow.
News as of today, Police Commissioner Ray Kelly seemed to indicate that none of you Democrats are serious about being mayor because you haven't asked for a briefing as it relates to terrorism and protecting New York City.
Well, a few things. Number one, it is a little strange that the commissioner has chosen today to mention that, and I would have, if he was willing to do a briefing on anti-terrorism, it would have been nice if he would have indicated that to candidates. So I'm sure that There are many people who would have loved to have sat down with the commissioner and got a briefing on anti-terrorism. I'll look to do that after the election, after I'm the mayor-elect, and also make sure that my police commissioner sits down with Commissioner Kelly and gets that briefing also as we move forward in transition.
Okay, I know people were waiting for you. Is there definitely going to be a runoff starting tomorrow?
I'm not willing to concede that at this point.
Seriously?
Very seriously. We are still working hard. We're, as I said, we have a strong field operation. I feel that's really going to move things forward. So I'm working hard to still get to 40%. If that doesn't happen, I'm confident I'll be in a runoff.
I close on this. Mayor Bloomberg attacked Bill de Blasio, called him racist for using his family on the campaign trail, his biracial family. I'm sure you won't go that far, but does the mayor have a point that Mr. de Blasio has been somewhat of an opportunist?
No, I think that Bill de Blasio is proud of his family and has highlighted them in his ads, just like, I'm proud of my family. This is my daughter. She's out there on the campaign trail. My wife has been out there on campaign trails for months. So no, I don't find it any ulterior motive behind it. Bill de Blasio is proud of his family, just like I'm proud of my family, just like Christine Quinn and John Liu and Anthony Weiner are proud of their families. And, if your families want to be involved in the election, I think it's fine.
How do you feel about your dad going into tomorrow?
I'm very proud of him, and I'm just excited to see the outcome.
You think he's going to win?
I absolutely do.
So, who makes it into the runoff? If there is a runoff, it will be interesting. Christine Quinn or Bill Thompson. And Richard, he's been telling us for the last 2 days, Mr. Thompson, he's not conceding there'll be a runoff. He believes that he'll get the 40% himself, even though all the polls say that it's Bill de Blasio.
Yeah, and I think my Jets are going to the Super Bowl this year, too. A guy can dream. But, Dom, you start with de Blasio. And I think the optics tell a lot. You were with him last week. You were with him again today. Huge crowds, a lot of energy. But you could tell it stung what the mayor had to say about him. If those haven't checked out in the New York Magazine cover issue, it's a really wide-ranging interview. But he calls, among other things, class warfare and racist. Mayor Bloomberg talking about Bill de Blasio and the campaign that he's running. And obviously he referenced what a lot of people have, that the ad campaign of Bill de Blasio, where you see his family here and his son most notably with his afro, has been the difference in why he's gotten ahead, as well as his language on stop and frisk. De Blasio knows what's going on out there, and he's not too happy about it.
He's not too happy about it, but they say in life you turn negatives into positives. So what did de Blasio do? He doesn't like the fact that the mayor is highlighting his African-American wife, his biracial children. De Blasio, we're looking at his son there with that afro. De Blasio actually sent out a fundraising letter to raise money, and to a degree, this was a gift from Mayor Bloomberg.
Right.
Because remember, you have people that vote on the far left in primaries. And so Mr. de Blasio is the most progressive candidate in this race. And so it sort of plays right into that theme. Bloomberg sort of gave him a great gift in a backhanded way.
On the flip side, on the optics front, just look at the last few days for Bill Thompson. He gets endorsed by Al D'Amato, and then he gets endorsement from the fire department, which is great. But again, he's got the backdrop here of an all-white fire company, at least that he's with, and it just feeds into the image that he missed the boat on stop and frisk, and Bill de Blasio is resonating more with African-American voters. You got the idea, don't you, Dominic, that in his head, 4 years ago, it was, listen, I don't have to run against Bloomberg again. I came with a late 11th hour push here. They'll be for me. They'll be there for me on election day. I don't really have to go too far. I just got to run a safe campaign. At this point, it doesn't seem that strategy's worked.
I love the words that you just selected. You said he missed the boat. And unfortunately for Mr. Thompson, if this doesn't work out, that will be an accurate analysis of his campaign. Missed the boat. In terms of, driving to his events in the South Bronx, I scanned through all the radio stations, the all news stations, the music stations, the black stations, and all the candidates. It's amazing. They're all advertising on the black stations, all of them. And so when you listen to Thompson's commercials, he says in one of them, no one has to tell me about stop and frisk, alluding to the fact that he's a black man. But this is an issue that he should have owned.
Yeah.
How did de Blasio sneak in there
It just seems
and
missed
steal the
opportunities,
issue
Dom,
of stop and
have
frisk?
defined both Thompson and Quinn. I saw
Another
somebody
good
make
word,
the
missed
analogy about
opportunities.
that just like Hillary against Obama 5.5 years ago, she didn't highlight the fact that she could have been a historical candidate until it was too late, the first woman. And the same thing now with Quinn, where all of a sudden she's not hitting the fact that she could have been the first female mayor of New York City again until it's almost too late. So it'll be fascinating how this plays out. Your gut instinct is, do you think de Blasio hits 40%? If he doesn't, who's he got to run off?
I got to tell you, out on the campaign trail, this guy, Bill de Blasio, is a rock star these days. So, Richard, I don't know. Normally, I have a good clue, and I can tell you this one or that one. I don't know. I really don't know. De Blasio may hit 40. If he doesn't hit 40, though, anything can happen. If Thompson makes it into a runoff, those guys are going to kill each other.
And as we know, in non-election years, especially in primaries, it's get out the vote and it's organization.
That's right.
And both Quinn and Thompson have something to say about that.
Can you believe the polls are about to open? Can you believe that?
Oy vey. Dominic, thank you. That's all the time that we have for tonight here. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you here tomorrow evening for another edition of RFL. I'll see you at 6 p.m.